I think what is important at this moment for the church is to engage different constituencies in the way they need to be engaged. There are older congregations, established congregations in communities that have continued to change around them, but the church within the four walls of that building has not changed at all. It's the same members. They haven't grown much. They've decreased because of age and attrition, kids moving away. For those congregations, one of the things that I think saddens me about the church is that for a large number of those congregations, the reason they have stopped to grow and have declined so much is because they have stopped engaging with the outside world. They've stopped engaging with their communities. One of the things that I think is so important about Lutheran in Philadelphia is that public theology is a huge part of what we do. It is about being and living our theology in the wider community. And many of these congregations need a shot of that. They need to figure out how to re-engage the communities around them. If they figure out how to do that and engage the communities around them, maybe start a second worship service or create synergy with a Hispanic group in the area or with an African American church that's struggling, share space. I think there have been some amazingly creative partnerships that have been created. At the same time, there are a lot of denominations that are putting a lot of effort and money into starting new church starts, and they're picking suburban locales, and that's well and good. I love that because there are people who have moved out to those suburbs who need to be reached and have their needs met and find God in a way that is appealing to them but also challenges them. But one of the things I find so intriguing, I heard a bishop not too long ago say that they were so sad they had sold all the buildings in downtown because they could no longer afford to do ministry in downtown Philadelphia because they didn't have the building space. And for me, that was one of the saddest things that I had ever heard, because you don't need a building to do church. Church can be formed in a lot of different places, at a Starbucks coffee shop, in a downtown warehouse, next door to a mission that's already down there to begin meeting the needs of folks. Church is this creative, embodied, hard to define thing. The church that I get discouraged about is the church that's in a box, that cannot get out of that box, that cannot figure out how to be church outside of that box. For me, the excitement in the church today is folks who are saying, I don't want a box. Don't put us in a box. We don't need a box. We want to be the church. If it's a church without walls, if it's a sim church, if it's an online church, if it's an emergent church out in the suburbs or in downtown Toledo or downtown Brooklyn, New York, we're going to try to meet the needs of the constituency around us. And that's what's so exciting, because there are congregations popping up all over the country that are younger congregations that are engaging in really, missional and technologically driven worship. And there are older established congregations that are getting revitalized and re-enthused by engaging the neighborhoods around them. So I guess, I have a pretty hopeful attitude about the church, because I think there's so much potential there. We live in a time when people are crying out to belong somewhere. They're crying out to find connection, and the church can be that place. But in order for us to be that place, we have to break down walls. We have to throw open the windows, throw open the doors, and welcome who comes in, whether that's someone of a different racial ethnic background, someone of a different sexual orientation, someone of a different family structure, someone who's got a different educational background. We have to be there for whoever's in need for us. We can't sit in a cubbyhole and hide. And I think a lot of congregations that have been declining have done that. But I am hopeful. I'm very hopeful for the church.